Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Knife Chats with Tobias. I think what I'll do today is a 2 for Tuesday. Now, this is a tag that was started by Tom over at Knife Delights, and it's basically grab two knives and talk about them. And that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be rambling about these two Swiss Army knives. They are both made by Victorinox. They're both relatively new. This one is much newer than this one. This one evolved from the Golfer and is nowadays known as the Compact. This is kind of an evolution of the Climber and is known as the Companion. And both of these are really kind of like your urban EDC survival knife. You know, they're knives really designed for use in cities and stuff like that. It isn't really your outdoor camping knife, even though they could be used for that. But these are really designed more for around the office and, your daily chores that you do more in the suburban or urban environment. They're not the ones that you're going to be taking out for camping. Let's take a look at the blades on these because they are a little bit different. As you notice, they both have the corkscrew. Now, the Companion comes, or at least it used to always come, with the little eyeglass screwdriver. The Companion apparently does not. The Companion has the hole for the little safety pin, but it doesn't come with the safety pin. The Compact does come with the safety pin, so which also explains a little bit of why this knife costs as much as it does. It comes with all the little bells and whistles. If you notice on the back side here, looking at the scale tools, you see two slots there. You see the ink pen. Come on, let's get back in there. They both come with an ink pen. I believe originally when they come out of the door, or when they come out of the factory. Oh, look, Knife Delight's card. Hey, he's the one who does this 2 for Tuesday thing. I don't want to scribble on the back of his card. Let me get a sheet of paper. Not a piece of paper, but I think I can write on it. This is the Trash Panda, SMKW's Trash Panda. Yeah. All right, blue ink now. I think they used to come with black ink, but now it's blue ink. A lot of people want them with black ink. Any case, then you have the toothpick and the toothpick, obviously. And then on the opposite side, you have the tweezers. So all the typical tools you'll see on a plus scale. That's what these are known as, plus scales. When you have the ink pen going into the back cover of your Swiss Army knife, those are the plus scales that people are talking about. Basically, you can hold the ink pen as well as the little safety pin right there. Understand, though, that I think all of these scales now will allow you to put in a safety pin now. Yeah, I just grabbed the Tinker I have. Now it's a 3 for Tuesday. This is the Only You Can Prevent Dumpster Fires. This is a SMKW special, with the raccoon on it. But in any case, the reason I grabbed that is to check the scales. Yeah, even the new ones. This is the one with ABS instead of Celador, and even that one comes with the little hole for the safety pin. So the difference for the plus scales is the ink pen. So we got that going. And let's look at the blades here. And the big difference is that you can tell here, this is only 2 layers. We'll look at the back side first. We saw the corkscrew already, and then you notice the second thing is the parcel hook, or the all-purpose hook, I think is what they call it now. And get that out, and it is just the all-purpose hook. The nice thing on it with the Compact is the hook also has a nail file in there, so you have the nail file into the all-purpose hook. The problem with it is where the the little key ring is located. It is located right in the middle, kind of actually more towards the corkscrew side, and it does sometimes get in the way of getting to the parcel hook, which opens at the very top there. Very strong spring on it too. Now flipping over to the front of the knife, what you have in the very front is the scissors. Got to turn it around to open them up though. But you got a pair of scissors in the front. So the initial tool layer, you know, the cap lifter screwdriver, let's break this one out. This is usually the very first layer of tools that you have on a Swiss Army knife. The can opener with the small tip screwdriver, which can act as a Phillips, and then the cap lifter with the flathead screwdriver and the wire bender. Those are the typical front layer tools on a Swiss Army knife, but on the companion, that layer is missing. It's completely gone. You just have the scissors. And then the second layer back is where you run into your main blade. And then the very last blade on here is your combination tool with the wire bender on there, the smaller flathead screwdriver that can work in a pinch as a Phillips screwdriver, but really not too good. And this is both a can opener and a cap lifter. Now, as I mentioned, this started life as a golfer. Let me show you the difference. Now, I don't have every version of the golfer from Victorinox. The very first one, I believe, was an 84 millimeter golfer, but it's had similar blades to what we have here. These are two golfers from Victorinox, and as you can see, does have the very first one. You got the tweezers, and then you do have the pen and the toothpick and the corkscrew, but it does not have the parcel hook. That's the way they began life. You do have the scissors, and you do have a main blade going on. And then originally it also had a combination tool. Now that was the very first golfer, or the very first 91 millimeter golfer. And then what they did was they came out with a more specialized golfer. Now this one does have the parcel hook, but the original golfer does not have the nail file on the back. See the nail file? No nail file on the back of the hook. And the other thing that goes with this is you still have the scissors, you still have the main blade, but what it has in place of the combo tool, where's it at? Here we go, is the divot tool. So it has a divot tool instead of the combo tool. And then now the from this, the golfer changed. Man, all of a sudden I've gone off the rails. So much for a Two for Tuesday. But anyway, golfers actually got a hold of Victorinox and said, why don't you make a golf tool that actually is useful for a golfer instead of a Swiss Army knife that kinda works for a golfer but pretty much doesn't do what it should do. And so they came out with this one instead, and this is the Victorinox golf tool. And you see the little slide button here, which looks like a little golf ball. And now you have a proper size divot tool that can actually handle a divot. And then on the side, you have a blade that is used for cleaning out your the grooves in your golf club. You do have a small cap lifter there. You have a little nail file down in this area here. So a multi-use blade here. A blade from the old 74 millimeter knives that is used for, you know, all your little cutting chores. And then on the opposite side, you have the scissors that were over here. so you still have the scissors. And then you got the tweezers and the toothpick. However, there's no pen, but you do have a ball marker. So you have a ball marker, so if you need to put that down and move your ball, you've got that. So a little more useful for the golfer than the golf knife. And maybe that's why they changed that and went back to the combination tool and passed this off as the compact instead of the golfer's knife or the golfing tool. And that's why they also added this, because it is a functional knife, but probably not the best knife for golfing. For one thing, if you are doing your scorecard and you're writing it in ink, you know, you can't later change those strokes as easy as if you were using a golf pencil. So, you know, you don't, and what are you going, so I think that's where this comes from. You know, it's obvious that it came from blah, 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 blah. Okay, I was doing pretty good until I got tongue twisted. But anyway, so the compact is basically the golfer. They went back to the combination tool and marketed a different way, and then came out with a more proper golf tool for the golfer. In any case, let's get back over to the other knife, which is the Companion. And this is a newer version of the Companion. I do have an older one, the very first one that came out, and I accidentally called that one a Champion. Boy, did I get a bunch of grief over that. This is the first one I picked up. This one has the walnut scales with all sorts of carvings in there. As you can see, it lacks the tools that you have on the new Companion. You got the 2 cows there, then a bunch of cowbells, and then a couple other things, the Swiss Mountains, and I think that's like a box of Swiss chocolates or something, I don't know. Skis, Swiss time clocks, the tram up there, ski slopes, so on and so forth. So really nice looking things. But what was really interesting about the Companion was the new blade that they introduced and the blade choices that they put on this. Now, like I said, this is very close to a climber, and the climber is, for the most part, similar to the Super Tinker, except it has a corkscrew instead of a Phillips driver. So here is a climber and the Boy Scouts glow-in-the-dark covers or scales. Here is a Tinker in regular red Celador. And as you can see, these are the newer versions of them because it does have the all-purpose hook running down the middle there. And those are the blades you'll see on the back of it. If you got a Super Tinker, you got this blade, you know, the Phillips driver, then you've got the parcel hook and the awl or punch versus a corkscrew, parcel hook, awl or punch on the climber. Front scales are the same on both of them. So you have the can opener, cap lifter, and then in the middle, this is what makes these knives different from a Spartan and a Tinker. You have the scissors going down the middle. So you have a pair of scissors and a pair of scissors. And then the back tools are the small blade and the large blade. That's the difference between a Super Tinker and a climber. And now let's look at the Companion. That's really what we're supposed to be talking about. But I wanted to show you the blade options that are on here versus what's on here, because at first glance, you're going to think that this is basically a climber, but with plus scales, because it has the spot for the ink pen. So from all outward appearances, it is a climber. You look down on the top, you see the pair of scissors and everything. And we can see here's the scissors. Got the nice scissors in the middle. And then on the front side, still got the screwdriver and the screwdriver. Where things start changing is right here. This is a package opener. So they have a package opener on there instead of a can opener. Because in this day and age, you probably need something that's going to be able to cut through those hard plastic packages more so than you do a can opener. Because we run into a lot more of these than we do cans that need a can opener. And this cuts pretty good through even heavy cardboard. As you can see, I was doing pretty good there. And it definitely goes around the edges of this stuff very well. You know, I already opened it, I'm sorry, unfortunately, but yeah, you can get in there and cut this stuff out real easy, and it cuts through it no problem. And that's really what this is for cutting through all this heavy plastic and stuff that we run into in packages. Also, it'll work fine with just cutting tape and everything else, saving your blade. So that's what the package opener is for. And that's the first change in the companion. Then the back side, you have the main blade, which you have on here as well. And then remember, we were talking about that secondary pin blade. That's the other blade that changes on this. The companion doesn't have a secondary pin blade. Instead, it has a nail file. Something that a lot of people have been asking for a long time. Why don't you ever put a nail file on the knife instead of the small blade? I'd rather have a nail file than a small blade. This has the tip for cleaning out your nails and so on and so forth. So that's the difference between the climber and the companion. And both of these knives, like I mentioned, were designed more for the urban environment than the outdoor, you know, going in the woods kind of environment. This is really the everyday carry knife for the commuter, things of that nature, or somebody who is dealing more with office life than farm life or going out and, you know, camping and everything. This is the one you take to the office. This is one you would take to the office. Has your backup ink pen in case you need to write something and you forgot your other pen, so on and so forth. You have the parcel hook, which works really well for holding string and stuff like that. And also the parcel hook is the ideal place for the pen, because you see the slot here. You kind of put the pin down and you lower the parcel hook on it. That holds it in place, and then it's easier to write with the pen. That's the other thing that the parcel hook comes in handy for. It's the spot to hold your pen. In any case, I'm pretty happy with it. The only thing I was a little bummed about with the with this knife, with the companion, is I would have liked it if they would have swapped out the cap lifter screwdriver with a combination tool. Then you would still have a can opener too. But I don't think those blades really mesh quite the same, and that might be why they did not change it out. But really, at the bottom, at the end of the day, I don't really need the can opener, and I do use a file more often than I do a can opener. And so it was nice to see a file up here on this. So that's pretty cool. In any case, there you have it. Two of those urban survival EDC knives that you're going to need in order to take on the world of office zombies, the compact and the companion. A little bit long, I guess, for Two for Tuesday, but then there's more than 2 knives, but primarily this is what I wanted to talk about. Any case, hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you again soon. Let me take just a second to thank you once again for dropping by and spending a few minutes here at Knife Chats with Tobias. I really do appreciate it, and I do appreciate any comments that you leave. So please remember to give me that thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you'll know when the next episode is up and running. Thanks again for dropping by. Really do appreciate your time here.